Kopam Yuto Sho. Let's do the 4 limitless contemplations. May all being have happiness and create the causes of happiness. May they all be free from suffering and creating the causes of suffering. May they find that noble happiness which can never be tainted by suffering. May they attain universal impartial compassion, free of worldly bias towards friends and enemies. Sem jendam je dewatang dewe ju tang den pa ju jig, dungal tang dungal chichu tang drawa ju chik, dungal mepe dewa tampatang mindrawa ju chik, nearing chak tang ni tang drawe tang nom chempola ne pa ju chik. So this morning, everybody, we're going to do a short heart meaning of Vajrayana, the part 2 of it, just coming from my heart. And as I told people last week, it's important that maybe you go back to some of the ones that I did with real recorded text, of masters that are really good with Vajrayana, not just taking mine, but these talks are just from my heart to really give you what I feel about the privilege of Vajrayana practice. And then you can go and study with great masters. I mean, I think we're so lucky in this day and age that we've got so much available to us. I think that we've got so much that is available for us to understand Vajrayana or tantric practice, and so many teachings and so many things on YouTube and so many things that we really can get up to date. So I just wanted to start to go back to my little Chang Su. I always keep this little thing in my dream folder, but I just think it's so important for today after we did the theater last time. So Chang Su wrote, "Once upon a time, I, Chang Su, dreamt I was a butterfly, fluttering hither and thither, to all intents and purposes, a butterfly. I was conscious only of following my fancies as a butterfly and was unconscious of my individuality of a man. Suddenly I wakened, and there I lay myself again. Now I do not know whether I was a man dreaming I was a butterfly, or whether I'm now a butterfly dreaming that I'm a man." Now that little thing is such an important thing, because if you really look at it, I often wake up in the morning, and if I have these very lucid, powerful experiences before I wake up in the morning. And then after that, for a little while, I really don't know who I am. And then the day fits in. And I say to myself, but I understood what I was dreaming about so well when I was there dreaming. But now I don't know what it was all about. I don't even understand it. So we have all these different levels of consciousness, and we have all these different qualities. Now, when you remember, everything comes in 5s in the Vajrayana, the 5 wisdoms, the 5 elements, the 5 everything, the 5 female Buddhas, the 5 male Buddhas, the 5 families, it comes in 5. Why 5? Because they're actually 5 aspects of the 5: body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities. Now, those are all the enlightened things. If we don't take them, qualities and activities, so body, speech, mind, qualities and activities. The qualities are our real enlightened qualities. The activities are the enlightened activities that we would do if we were enlightened. Now, those 5, when they come into a body, they're often frozen, okay? And now they're ordinary body, speech, and mind, not Vajra's body, speech, and mind, and ordinary qualities. Like we may have a few gifted qualities in our human life, but they're ordinary qualities. and ordinary activities. This is what we do every day. Maybe some of them are quite nice, and maybe we help people and things like that. But actually, the enlightened qualities and the enlightened activities are what we're going towards when we've got Vajra, body, speech, and mind. They just come naturally and spontaneously. Now, when you think of the privilege of Vajrayana or tantric practice, why do we do it? What do we do it for? I gave you last time, just to give you a little bit of a summary of what I was doing last time for those that weren't here. I know with this load shedding as well, it goes really, really difficult. But we were talking about entering, James Lowe saying, entering the theater of Vajrayana. We're in one theater, and I read you the story of Hamlet, one play inside another play. And we are living a play inside a play all the time. We're always in the theater. And James Lowe says, when you, from his guru, when you enter that theater of the Vajrayana, you've got to really have faith. You've got to really have that devotion and that faith to enter that theater. So what he says is very, very beautiful. He says, when we practice, we look in a mirror. And usually when we look in a mirror, we see all our faults, okay? We see, oh God, I'm so fat, and look how wrinkled I am, and I don't look very nice today. We see all our faults all the time, okay? And he says, like our confusions, our limitations. And he says, when an anorexic girl looks in the mirror and she's like a stick, she says, oh, I'm so fat, okay? It's really important to understand this, because what we're seeing is not the truth of who we are. And with our practice, we see Vajrasattva in the mirror. Vajrasattva is right in the middle of the whole mandala of all the deities. We see Vajrayana, Vajrasattva in the mirror, our real nature. And every single deity practice that we do is an opportunity, open portal to unity, to identify with the quality of that, with the quality, oh shame, Corin, with the quality of whatever deity we are practicing. Now, if you ask yourself, why did the Buddha teach deity practice? Well, he didn't teach so much. He taught just very, very few, Vajrayana or you know, the higher practice of Tantra. But he said, I will send you later on an emanation who was Guru Rinpoche to teach you the Vajrayana. And why would we learn the Vajrayana? He did it because when he was teaching in India, those Hindus were very, very preoccupied with their gods and their goddesses. You know, they believed wholeheartedly. So he couldn't really take that away from them, because then they wouldn't listen. He had to replace it with a more internal process, so that each deity, when people say, oh, you're doing all this deity practice and it's so weird and it's so this and it's so that, they don't understand, because the deity practice is to develop, obviously, the body, speech, and mind, and we'll talk about that again, but to develop the qualities of those deities, the fourth aspect of the five, the qualities of that particular deity, so that even if you drop the whole picture of Chenrezi, and you drop the whole picture of Tara and the whole picture of whatever, if you just looked at the qualities, and it's very interesting, because Tulku Urchin Rinpoche says you can do the visualization step by step by step. You can do it step by step, or you can have instantaneous recollection. And that's when you really know it's your quality. So for me, the deity practice, which was so clear to me, I told you last time when I came into Vajrayana and tantric practice was Tara. And Tara's also changed a little bit with me as the aging process has gotten one. Oi, you also have to leave. What's going on with everybody today? I don't know why everybody's leaving. Doesn't matter. Just get the recording, okay? And so when you look at it, you know, Tara was the actual being that would take me to action accomplishment. That was the most important thing for me, for my particular role in this particular life. And now, why Tara seems to be more important, she's a lot more passive, but she's got that wish-fulfilling wheel, and she's got that purity. Whereas the Tara that I had to embody over all the years that I did the practice was action accomplishment, swift, quick, doing everything as she could do it. And that was my real way of coming back to Guru Rinpoche. That whole mandala, my way was doing it in that way. So when we look in the mirror, instead of seeing Melanie there, I need to learn to see Tara there, Vajrasattva there, Chenrezi there. And if you can do this, you will definitely get the blessing. The more you enter the theater of the Vajrayana, the more impact you get. And all of our life, he says, is the theater. Our drama of being Melanie is disturbed by entering the drama of being Vajrasattva. Now you may say, the point being that even though we come back into this life and then we Melanie again, it's really, really, really important that we are able to see that role, that ego, and stop me when you want to ask something, as just a temporary, transient drama of this life. It's really important that we actually able to see it as a temporary, transient drama of this life. That's all it is. And when we look at it, it's very interesting because, again, he says, when we look at ourselves, when someone meets you, they're going to say to you, how are you? What's your name? Where'd you come from? Where'd you live? What do you live in? You know, what do you do? What's your career? What's your everything? You're going to have that. Okay, Rugari, I'm coming to you now. You're going to have that when you go on your beautiful mission. People are going to say, where are you from? How are you? What are you? You know, they're going to say all those kind of things. But you can be with someone and never really know. Imagine if I met somebody and I said, my name is Green Tara. I mean, they'd think you were an absolute lunatic, okay? But you want to take that. And the guru who gives you the transmission, I'm coming now, regard to the guru who gives you that transmission is looking at you not as Melanie and Bernice and Mimi and all of that, not looking at you like that. They're looking straight at who you really are. Who are you? And they are not going along with what other people say you are. They really, really aren't going along with that in any way or any form because they're not interested in that. You know, it's interesting. You can really know a Lama, a guru very well, and they've hardly ever asked you questions about your actual life. And that's so strange. They'll talk to you about your practice, your deity practice, your stuff, what you do. They're not really concerned about your life. And that's what's so important, that we see that this life is just the absolute temporary, transient aspect. Rugari, you wanted to ask something.
Yeah, Mel. When you're talking about the, you know, us looking in the mirror, yes, through our practice, but I think also somewhat literally. So I've had that experience where, okay, let's say I've practiced, right? I've done Chinrezi or I've done Tara, and then I'm just kind of going throughout my day. And then Chinrezi, more than I think Tara, it would pop up in my mind. But like, it's happened a few times over the last sort of month or 2 weeks where like the image of him will pop up, but it doesn't feel like, oh, just a picture on the wall now. It feels like how I am talking to you, like there's a person there. So I wonder, not so much what that's about, but do we then have to, like, if that happens, to then do the whole practice again, or it's enough to just have the image of the deity? And
You know what? That is what is so interesting here. Because let me put, I'm going to answer your question, but let me put it in a very, very beautiful, let me put it in a very beautiful way. Okay. When we look at it, now Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche really explains beautifully how to do the practice. But the bottom line is, if you think of everything in the practice, taking refuge, bodhicitta motivation, and then everything you set up, like we just did Guru Rinpoche, and you set it all up and you make it all perfect and you get everything ready exactly as it should be. And then you actually do the practice where you're becoming that. If you could, like Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche says, it's absolutely enough. Even if you do that short thing, I can no longer do a long Tara practice every morning. So I can just take white Tara, green Tara, and I've made my little practice and I'm there in a shot. But the bottom line is, and then I've got them. I'm not doing a long practice because I've got other practices that I want to do. So I'll do a long practice every now and then, but I won't do that. I am able to sort of get there very, very quickly, recall my relationship with that part of me and be there, and then take it through into my day. I mean, it's really important to understand that the practice is only given to you. It's a privilege. The practice is given to us in this very, very degenerative age. Guru Rinpoche could see it in advance, and he made these termas that would be discovered in our time to give us that practice, which is really, really important, okay, in order for us to see that we have so many of these beautiful qualities. And as Tulku Urgyen says, if you've done one quality, you've got them all. So in other words, if you do one deity practice, you've got all the qualities. But in a particular lifetime, you might have to do that. But what is the importance of it? The importance of it is, once you've mastered the practice, like let's say you're going to go off to Stockholm or wherever you're going to go now, and you're going to be there. I mean, you're not going to have hours to do practice in the morning and a baby and your university and everything else. So you're going to have to make your practices short and sweet, but really, really poignant. Okay. And it's really important. But you see, that's where, when Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche says, we really need to do the preparation for Vajrayana. In other words, in the old days, if in the times in Tibet, when Tibet was really just a Buddha Dharma country, okay, in those days, people went to a guru for 12 years before the guru gave you a practice. I mean, there had to be total dedication. There had to be total knowledge of what you were doing. There had to be that unbelievable relationship, okay? And here today, we come into it. People come in and they just come and do a deity practice and they haven't a clue what they're doing. I mean, if I look at myself, I did go to some teaching on it, and I definitely went and got the empowerments, but often I didn't even understand the empowerments. So now if I ever get an opportunity to go, I want to go again because I want to understand them. Because what was his name again? Oh, I just can't think of his name. The one that is married, maybe you'd know Vera or you'd know Denny, the one married to Akong Rinpoche's niece. What is his name? He's a Tulku.
Oh yeah, I've met him before as well.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now. I just can't think of his name, unfortunately. I'll think of it. But he came to South Africa and he gave a lot of empowerments. I'm sure some of you will remember him what was his name? Oh my goodness, how could I forget his name? Anyway, what's in a name? Okay. But he really did the most beautiful empowerments. When he gave an empowerment, he spoke. Hello, Nick. It's so nice to see you. He spoke. You cannot believe he set up the whole place. When you were with him, you actually felt like when he did a Tara empowerment, a medicine Buddha empowerment, he did Guru Rinpoche, he set up the whole shrine room, and you actually felt absolutely amazing when he gave that empowerment. I felt like I was there. That was the one teacher I really felt. I'm really sorry, because I know when Ekong Rinpoche gave empowerments, Lama Yeshe doesn't give empowerments, but when Ekong Rinpoche gave empowerments, which is so important, some people could actually see him as the deity. I mean, they actually saw him sitting in the chair as Guru Rinpoche, or whatever the case is. Some people could see that. What a gift if you could. When I got the empowerments, most of them from him, I was too naive and stupid and everything else, so I didn't really understand the preciousness of this empowerment and how important the empowerment really is. I just can't think of his name. Nikki, maybe you, Nicola, maybe you can remember his name. The guy that was married to Ekong Rinpoche's niece, who came to South Africa. I think you were around then. Anyhow, he was amazing. And I've asked and asked and asked if he can come again, but something he had done which displeased one of the lamas won't allow him to come again. And I'm really, really sorry, because I think he lives in Scotland, Denny. He lives in Edinburgh, one of the places in Scotland. Anyway, I'll think of his name just now. But what I'm really saying is, I want to give you this thing that Lama Yeshe gave to me that I told you last time. I found my notes on when I was on Holy Isle with him and all the things that I told you. But I want to just give you, while I'm on the subject, the actual things that he said to me about empowerment. He said, faith and devotion, I wrote it all down, is all you need. With total devotion, you become fearless, absolutely fearless. Then, when you are fearless, the lineage does everything through you. People don't understand, he said. Once you have a guru, devotion, and total belief, there are no limitations on what can be achieved when you're doing this Vajrayana practice. Now, it's really, really important to understand this, because a lot of you I know don't have a personal guru. But it doesn't matter, because Lama Yeshe Rinpoche can serve as that, Guru Rinpoche can serve as that. It doesn't really matter. Or Ekong Rinpoche, or whoever you actually have devoted. It doesn't matter if it's not your personal thing. Because once you have it, that's what he told me. He said to me, you have my total blessing, and whoever you teach has that same blessing. I have the Karmapa's total blessing. It comes through me, and it comes into you, and whoever you do it gets that same blessing from you. And so it's really important. But he says, when at death, if you take this devotion and faith, and you have a guru, and the lineage, if you have the lineage, you have no need for help at death. You have nothing to stop you. He said, when you train your mind, there's absolutely nothing to fear in life. He says, if there is not live transmission, now this is so, Tuku Ojin, yeah, I think his name was Denny. I think his name was Tuku Ojin Tuku.
Yeah, Tulku Ogin Nima, I think his name was, but it was the Manyak Rinpoche.
Manyak, they called him, what did you say, Manyak Rinpoche?
Manyak Rinpoche.
That's how I knew him. Tulku Manyak, that was his name. That's fantastic. Thank you, Denny.
Oh.
But what he was saying, Lama Yeshe, when he gave me this one-on-one, he said to me, if there's not live transmission, you can't accomplish anything. It will peter out soon. This is so important. He said, I have everything totally alive. He said, when he saw the Kamaka, he was such a rebellious thing, and the Kamaka turned him into jelly. And he said, intellect does not count for anything. What you have to have is that heart devotion. And I brought this with today so that you can really see. And he said, his whole practice is doing the Guru Yoga 3 times a day. I don't know if he still does that, but that was a lot of years ago. But still, he said his whole practice is Guru Yoga 3 times a day. All you need is that connection, and you have absolutely everything you need. And he said, the connection with your teacher goes back over many, many lifetimes. So when you look at your death, okay, the person that's enough of that, so I can still come from my heart. The person you have to really be with, your family is nothing at death, because they're going to go away. They're going to be gone. But the teacher doesn't change. So it's really, really important. So if you've got a devotion to Lama Yeshe Rinpoche, like I saw Evelyn opening her prayer book, and there's a picture of Lama Yeshe, a big picture of Lama Yeshe Rinpoche. So she puts him up when she does it. That's absolutely beautiful, because you have that. You have it in your own right, but you have it also from me, which is really important, because that preparation, I want to talk now about the actual practice, but that preparation is vital. That's why in the old days in Tibet, you had to serve a guru for years and years before they gave you a practice. That's how rare it was. And now we in the West, we just take it all for granted. We think, oh, it's easy. It's really easy. And last time I was telling you about birth and death, that the most important thing in the Vajrayana tantric practice is birth and death. Both of them are absolutely illusionary times. There is really no birth and no death. But everything we do in our lives is we're born to do this, and then we dissolve. So we go to sleep, we're born into a new place, and then we dissolve it in the morning. We're born into our lives, we dissolve it the next day. We got a career, we're born into that career, and then it dissolves after a while when you get to old age. And so it might dissolve. So birth and death are everything. Now, Ringu Tulku happens to be on in my motor car. I've always got something on that I'm listening to. And he was talking on Vajrayana. And he said, birth and death. He said, both of these very important aspects of our lives create anxiety, a tremendous amount of anxiety and angst. He said, and I thought that hit a bell for everyone. He said, we all scared of the births when we're giving birth to a baby, or we're giving birth to something, or our own births when we come in. It's always associated with anxiety. Will the baby be okay? Will everything be all right? There's always anxiety. When you're dying, there's terrible anxiety in us. And he said, which I found so interesting, that the Vajrayana practice of creation and dissolution is what really trains us to take away the anxiety of birth and death. Don't you think that's very interesting? It's really a very, very interesting thing, because when you look at it, you need that preparation for the Vajrayana. We need to, even if we do a short thing, when I come into my shrine room, I always do refuge, but I always used to do, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Then I went on to, I take refuge in the Guru, the Yidam, and the Dakini, okay? And then after that, I started to say, I take refuge in the Dharmakaya, I take refuge in the Sambhogakaya, I take refuge in the Nirmanakaya. So those three include the other two, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, the Guru, Yidam, Dakini. They include everything, because once you take refuge in your highest form, the Dharmakaya, in your next form, the Sambhogakaya, the luminosity, in your Nirmanakaya, the manifestation, once you take refuge in those three, you've got everything. So if you come into your shrine room and you take that refuge, I'll see if I've got that refuge thing. I've got it somewhere here, which is really important. But I think once you take the refuge, it's so important, because the refuge and your bodhicitta, your honor to do bodhicitta, to serve all sentient beings. So the refuge and the bodhicitta are very, very important. And then you could do the 7-branch prayer, whatever you're doing, and then you go on to the main practice. So that preparation, I think it's really important, because if you look at Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, as Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche says, has to take into account Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana doesn't have to take Vajrayana into account. Mahayana will take a little bit of Vajrayana and will take a lot of the Hinayana, but Hinayana is purely taking into account that self-cleansing, that self-cleaning up and everything else. And then Mahayana is when you take care of other people, and now you're starting to understand the emptiness of everything. And then in Vajrayana or Tantra is when you really, really starting the creation, the mantra recitation, and the dissolution. But something we really fail to do is, if you understand the 3 aspects of life that I teach over and over again, then you apply those to your Vajrayana practice. So what are the 3 aspects? The essence, the nature, and the unlimited energy. The essence, you can see it as the Dharmakaya, as the emptiness, as the pure, clear light, as the primordial purity, whatever you want to see it. But the essence is out of which everything comes. Now, when you're doing your practice, and I often slip to do this, okay, and it's really, really a bad thing. Tulku Urgent says, when you do your practice, you have to start with the essence. So in other words, if you're going to do a practice of Vajrayana, practice, of Tara, of Chenrezig, of Guru Rinpoche, you always start with the essence. How would you do that? You'd start by sitting a few minutes, 1 minute if you've only got a short time, and just seeing yourself absolutely there. As James Lowe says, he calls it, it just is. It just is. It's when you are sitting and the clear essence is around you before anything happens, okay? Before anything happens. It's always important to start with the essence. Then the nature. The nature is what we call spontaneous presence, what we call awareness, what intrinsic awareness, what we call clarity, what we call luminosity. These two, the essence and the nature, are always together, because whatever comes out of the essence, and we're going to do the deity practice, has got to be compiled of awareness, luminosity, clarity, all of those things, because that is natural in the essence. And then from that comes the unlimited energy, starting with the seed syllable, because the seed syllable is out of which everything starts developing. So for example, in Tara, your seed syllable is tam, tam. And you always have the seed syllable. With Guru Rinpoche, we just did it. It's re with, or it could be hung as well, but you know, there are different seed syllables for different things. With each of them, with Chen Rezi, you know, with each of these, there's a seed syllable. They always say the seed syllable first. And then from the seed syllable starts the mantra recitation, going around like this, out of your heart. You are the deity. You are the what they call the Samaya Sattva, the actual person who has become the deity. So you are Chen Rezi, you are Tara, you are Guru Rinpoche, you are Amitabha, and then from there is the seed syllable, which then goes out. The whole mantra comes from the seed syllable and goes out to give offerings. It's called approach. It goes out to give offerings to the deity, even though you are the deity. It gives offering to all the Buddhas and comes back to you and cleanses you completely and totally. And then it goes again. And now it starts giving it to all beings, to all sentient beings, everything that you've wished for. If you read carefully what it said in the Guru Rinpoche thing that we just did now, you'll see it's all there. Goes out from the seed syllable, then it goes out like that, comes back, cleanses you, goes again, cleanses the whole world, brings in the great accomplishment that everybody is in the beautiful light of Jnana, wisdom. Okay, but when you look at that in terms of the three aspects, the essence, the nature, and the unlimited energy, the three aspects of your Vajrayana practice are all about that. You start with the dissolution, then you go to the creation. Sometimes it's called the developmental stage, the development stage, or the creation stage. And in that creation stage, you can either, as Tulku Urgent says, you can create yourself slowly. Now, I was never a visualizer. I've never been a visualizer. I'm a feeling person. I can feel things, but if you tell me, this is what Tara's got, this is what Guru Rinpoche's got, I can read about it and really value it and visualize it. But when I go into the practice, there it is. I can't visualize step by step by step. But these practices are actually giving you visualization step by step by step. He's got 4 arms, he's got this in his right hand, he's got that in his right hand, he's got a 5-petaled cap on his head, which represents the 5 wisdoms. He's got, I mean, I was so delighted when I learned that Guru Rinpoche, for example, has 3 garments. And I didn't understand what they were for ages. And Thupten gave a teaching on him, and I loved it, where he said his undergarment is the Hinayana, his next garment is the Mahayana, and his top garment is the Vajrayana. You know, I didn't know these things, and they're wonderful to read about and explore. And some of you may really like to go. This is the visualization. This is how you do it. These are the details of it. It's very good if you do that. I cannot do that. And Tulku Urgent says that instant recollection, you're just there in the practice. I have that kind of ability, that kind of mind, that's how I am. But each of you must find what you do. I remember James Lowe saying, his guru said, people come to him and then they go, his name's C.R. Lama, I think his name's C.R. Lama, and they went, Rinpoche, which practice should I do? Should I do Vajrasattva practice? Should I do a Dharma protective practice? Should I do this? He says, when he told people, yes, I think you should do that, or don't do that, why don't you rather do this practice? It's very good for you. Then they go, but Rinpoche, I like that practice. He says, then go and do that practice if that's what you like. But as I told you last time, there was one person who couldn't, I'll talk about what it means to say you accomplish the deity, who couldn't accomplish the deity, and then later on met some quite high master who said, I don't really understand why you're doing this practice, because this practice you've done for the last 10 lifetimes. And he said he was having such trouble with the practice he was doing. And then he decided, well, he's going to change to the practice the Lama suggested. And in 2 weeks, he realized the deity, who he was, his quality and everything. So you see, it's a beautiful thing to think about the fact that there are practices which, going back to the 5 things, Vajra body, Vajra speech, Vajra mind, Vajra qualities, and Vajra activities. Okay, now the qualities are what you need. You feel it, like Rugari, if you do a lot of Chenrezi, you feel like in this lifetime, you really need to develop the quality of compassion. Okay, you feel that I need to develop the quality of compassion. Even if I'm going into an academic thing, I need to develop the quality of compassion. And so that's the deity you practice. Each of you feel it. Molly, you told me that you had a great connection with Guru Rinpoche. Then do it and feel yourself, but don't only do the practice. Feel that you are the one. You are the one who is Guru Rinpoche. You are the one who is Chenrezi. You are the one. Now, some people think that's arrogance to think I'm the deity. No, no, no. That's what Vajrayana was given to you. They're basically 100 qualities, but those 100 deities of the mandala of your heart, which I've taught you before, the 100 deities are the 100 qualities plus, plus, plus. There are thousands of qualities. So each of those deities have got entourages. So it's not just 100 deities. It's a lot of beings, a lot of qualities that we have. And so when we do what is called the 3 samadhis, that's exactly what I've just told you. The samadhi of suchness. The samadhi of suchness means the empty essence. The samadhi of suchness, that's where you start. Then it goes on to the samadhi of illumination. You can read these in all your books that you read. The samadhi of illumination. The samadhi of illumination is that nature. It's illumined, it's clarity, it's awareness that comes out of the essence. And so we've got these two all the time. The one is creation. The one, when you do the deity practice, it's the creation. When you come from the actual emptiness, that's the dissolution. So you start with the dissolution into the creation, and then the mantra is using the energy. Mantra is not only saying a few words, the mantra is using the energy to go out and really change everything in your life and change everything for all sentient beings. And so the 3 samadhis are really, 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 we create a drama, a simulation of our innate qualities. And you could do it step by step by step, or as Tulku Urgent says, you could do it by instantaneous recollection. So if you've only got a few minutes in the morning, don't say, I can't do my Vajrayana practice. You can certainly sit in your meditation and do a shortened practice. I like to do the Tara praises every day because they go out, they do multitudes of things. And I like to do the Tara mantras. So I always do just a little beginning of offering Dunjinanka, offering to the deities. Then I just do a little refuge prayer, a little bodhicitta, and then I go on to the praises and I go on to the mantra, the mantras, and then I dissolve it all. Now, when you look at that, that doesn't take me long. It's something I do, and I do the long one every now and then. But it's what we are learning here is, it's not the fanaticism about the practice. It's rather the evolving and developing of your qualities of enlightenment. The activities are the 5 activities. The magnetizing, first the pacifying, when you're able to pacify people, then the magnetizing, when you're able to magnetize them into your beautiful mandala, the magnetizing, the increasing, which is when you give everything you've got, increasing the beauty of people and really giving them, enriching them. And then the 4th quality is the subjugation. When you see that someone's going wrong, then Guru Rinpoche subjugates those demons. There are 4 demons, let's not go into it, but subjugates those demons, which is really important. And lastly, the action accomplishment, which we don't even get after death in the beginning, because action accomplishment is when you've really, really become the deity and you can go out and accomplish your action. So I'm just going on and on and on and on. I want to come to the Guru Yoga, but let me throw it out for questions or comments, please. Because it's very important that I don't just yak and yak and yak, because when you get me on this subject, I can just go on and on and on like a waterfall. Any questions, any comments, anything? Yeah. Yes, Mimi, please.
Mel, you were speaking about the 3 samadhis, and you said the samadhi of suchness, which is the empty essence, the samadhi of illumination, that's the clear nature, and what's the 3rd samadhi?
Quite right. The samadhi of the seed syllable. Okay, the seed syllable is the essence. I'm glad you saw that. The essence of the mantra that you're going to give. Because the mantra has got the seed syllable in, and the mantra is an expansion of the seed syllable into what you're doing and what you're bringing to the world. It's really, really important. And what is so important for all of you to understand is that we are already those deities, but don't use the word deities, because then you think of a little Buddha and you think you're that little Buddha. No, 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 no. The deity is the qualities of whatever that deity represents. So you are already those qualities. And I heard something very interesting. Well, I was listening to this James Lowe. He's got a lot to say. He's really, really, I found him very, very good. And he said, the difference between Dzogchen, the highest Vajrayana practice, and between Dzogchen and other religions, which is very, very interesting, is he said, in other religions, you come to that religion and you're always told how bad you are and how this religion is going to save you. I mean, not all the religions say, come and this is going to save you, but the religions say, you are a sinner. You've done terrible things and you're so lucky. You come to Jesus and he'll save you. You come to God and he'll save you. You do good deeds. You actually do good deeds and you are accumulating merit, but they tell you how bad you are and how if you do this and this and this, and if you do this in the religion, that's how it'll be. But in the highest Vajrayana, they say you already are the awakened being, the Buddha. All you have to do is clear away all the obscurations, and there it will be. What a difference in that. Don't you think so? Because you're not told in the highest Vajrayana, you will do this, otherwise you will rot in hell. You will follow this rule and regulation. If you eat the wrong thing, or you do the wrong thing, or you say the wrong thing, you're going to land up in hell, or whatever. They don't say that. They say you are actually pure. And by doing this practice, you go to the pure illusory state. So when you're in your normal body with Melanie, it's called the impure illusory vision. Impure illusory. When you start doing the practice, you go to pure illusory. It doesn't mean that you attach to that practice and you only have that practice and you hold on tight to that practice. No, it doesn't mean that. It means that you're giving way to being what you already were. Okay? And that's called the pure illusory vision. And then we move to the next vision, which is seeing things as they are in the end. Such an amazing thing. So is that okay, Mim?
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else want to ask or say?
I just wanted to ask something, if that's okay, Melanie.
Please.
I always wanted to do a Tara practice in the morning, but see it, Holy Isle, the one that I went there was very long. It's almost all the calves. So I didn't know if there's a shortened practice I could do. If you'd be able to advise what you would need to include.
Well, there are a lot of options, okay, because I remember Lama Sondru coming in to teach us one year, and she said, why do you do the long Tara practice? She said, there's a really shortened Tara practice, and I will give you that shortened Tara practice, which is like about half of what the Tara practice is. I know it'll take about 20 minutes, 25 minutes to do that practice. And she said, you leave out this, you leave out that, you leave out this, you leave out. She gave it to me. I wrote it all down. I can give it to you, So one can do that shortened practice. Or, Guru Rinpoche, I mean, they're lengthy Guru Rinpoche practices. The one that we normally do, is actually a 20-minute practice. So one can do that. The Chenrezi can also be a long practice. I mean, there are masses and masses of things you can add on to the Chenrezi. But I remember one of the masters coming and saying, don't teach that, Melanie, because we used to do a half an hour's practice. He said, do the shortened practice so that people can actually do it. So there are lots of practices that take 15, 20 minutes. And that's what you need to do, Denny, if you want to do that. I think it's really important. And do your Dorji Chung. I've told people that you can make a half an hour's practice in the morning, which people can really mostly manage. I mean, you could just walk in, do a little refuge or do your few prostrations, sit down, do a little meditation, just coming to be, do your little practice, or the Guru Yoga, which I'll talk about in a moment, okay, which the Guru Yoga can be an hour long, or it can be 10 minutes long, or even 5 minutes long. And the Guru Yoga is vital because it puts everything into the Vajrayana practice. And Vajrasattva, this 100-syllable mantra. I mean, in the Nondra, you don't have to do the long Vajrasattva practice. You can actually do, like in the deity, the Dzogchen deity practice, they've got a very short Vajrasattva practice. And I do that every day. It takes me about 10 minutes to do it. So you don't have to do these long practices and then you're watching the time and you think it's so late and everything. You really don't. But you need to include in that refuge, a promise of bodhicitta, and a little bit of one of the qualities, and if you can, a short Guru Yoga practice, or a short, something like that, a short Guru Yoga practice, a short Vajrasattva practice. Vajrasattva is a Vajrayana practice. Sorry, Rugari, you wanted to say something.
So Mel, thank you for sharing that, because that was one of the questions, like how to set up the practice and sort of the components, but also, and I think about this mostly because of the move as well. It's important for me personally to set up a shrine, not like because I'm praying to the shrine, but for to keep remembering, as we talk about remembering who we are, and to keep that generosity, the paramita of generosity. And so I'm wondering, I do have a bit of weight limit, and maybe some of the stuff I'll buy there, but maybe what are the most integral things to take or to have to set up my shrine as I'm there? Because the beauty will be, at least for the beginning, I won't have the baby, it's just me. So there's quite a lot more time for concentration than I've had now. But at the same time, because there's a lot of newness there, I want to still be able to have practice as something anchoring.
Very good. Look, I will talk to you about it, but can I ask you something? I was going to go on to something else next week. Would you like it if I actually showed you how you could do a half an hour's practice in the morning? Would you?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. So in other words, to go from the beginning of what you need in a half an hour's practice, and then you can vary. Would you like that? Nod your heads if you'd like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm happy to do that next time for you. Because, I mean, you're not going to be able to take millions of things. You've got to take your essential things, which is really important. Okay. It's really important. Did you want to say something, Bern?
I did.
Okay, Mim?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Bern.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would love I know the 100 syllable mantra. I'd love to know that short Vajrasattva practice.
Okay.
Mel gave a wonderful one to the Australians when she was here last, which I think a lot of the girls are now doing. I have sent it to a few people who also asked me the same type of thing of, what can they actually do? So I think it's really, it's beneficial to actually have it recorded, Mel.
Yeah. Okay. So let's next week, I'm very happy to do that and give you a couple of practices. Maybe I can also photocopy a few things, Bern, and send them to you, and then you can put them on if people want to take them.
Do you want me to send you what I've done for the Australian group? I can send it.
So I can see, because I can't remember exactly what I said to them that day. So send that to me. Let me see what that happened. Okay. But I want all of you to remember that what we're doing here is called what Tulku Urgent calls Nang Jung training. Nang Jung training, to understand that means refining training. Refining. That's what we're doing with all our training. We're refining ourselves so that what is left are those qualities which are really, really important. The qualities that are important for you in this lifetime. Like, it's really important, because when you come to the bardo of Dharmata, you're going to be met. You're all going to be awake. You're going to be met by the 5 families and 100 deities, first in their peaceful form. And you've got to be able to pick out your deity, your thing, what you relate to. You need to know what you relate to, because you need to be able to do this when you're in the bardo of Dharmata. And that liberates you. Once you know who you are and where you are, that liberates you. Because remember, everybody, everything in your practice and in life takes place out of the 3 kayas. The 3 kayas are Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Niyamanakaya. Vajra body, Vajra speech, Vajra mind, or the opposite way around. Okay? Everything takes place out of the three kayas. Everything originates from the three kayas. Everything takes place within the three kayas, and everything dissolves back into the sphere of the three kayas. So those three, essence or dharmakaya, nature or sambhogakaya, the rainbow light, in unlimited energy or nirmanakaya, everything takes place out of those three. Everything originates from those three. Everything takes place within those three, and everything dissolves back into the sphere of the three. Remember that. If you remember nothing else, remember that. And then remember, everybody, and then we could do a meditation. Remember that the Guru Yoga is what Lama Yeshe was talking about, okay? It's really important that you understand, because if you look at the Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, the Hinayana, where you've got all the rules and regulations and everything else, is the path of renunciation. So you're giving up all the stuff that you normally do, you're renunciating. The Mahayana, where you go a little bit higher into a higher level, is the path of purification. And you know, when you look at these three, you actually understand them in terms of the poisonous tree. Because in the Hinayana, if there were a poisonous tree, you stay away from the poisonous tree. You put something around it, or you cut it down, and you renunciate. When you come to the Mahayana, you purify it. So you take, whatever the tree is, you're very careful of it, and you try to use it as much as you can for the path of purification. So the path of purification is, if the poisonous plant is venom, you change it into love. You purify whatever it is. You might take the poison out of it, and you might be left with something that is a good venom for snake bites or something like that, okay, of the poisonous plant. When you come to the Vajrayana, it's the path of transformation. You've got courage. You don't allow anything to scare you. You relax into what you're doing, because now you are the deity. The path of transformation is really picking that poisonous plant and transforming it fully, not purifying it, using the whole plant and transforming it into something better. So when you've got real hatred, you really transform it into love. Whatever you've got, if you've got real laziness, you transform it into energy. You transform it, you use the whole poisonous plant. And right at the top of Vajrayana is called the Ati Yoga. You've got Kriya Yoga, Charya Yoga, Yoga Tantra, the Maha Yoga, which is more creation, the Anu Yoga, which is more dissolution. And then you've got the Ati Yoga right at the top. Now it's not a path of transformation. It's a path of self-liberation. What does that mean? It doesn't mean liberation of yourself. It means it liberates by itself. So whatever is there, all your crap, all your hardships, all your everything, you just allow it to liberate by itself. It has no substance. It has no density. It is not you. If you've got a feeling of anger, you look straight into that anger. You don't avoid it. You don't transform it. You look straight into it. And you see that there's nothing solid there. And so it liberates of its own accord. So that's right up here. You don't have to do that. You can do it there. I have no problem with that. Depends on who you are and what you are. I've done it for too many lifetimes, okay? So I can't do it anymore. I can't do this transformation and purification. I've just got to go right there and see a much purer vision of everything that is in my mind. And I know I'm doing well, because yesterday I said to my husband, is this tennis on again? You know, wherever he comes into a room, it's the French Open, he'll put it on. I don't mind a little bit of tennis here and there. I quite enjoy it when it's there, but it's on day and night when the French Open is on, especially on the weekend. He hasn't got too much time during the week. So I said, is your tennis on? And then he puts his finger like this and he says, and you always doing practice or reading stuff or listening to stuff or whatever the case is. So I just smiled, because I thought, that's a good omen. You know, when he's annoyed with me because I'm doing so much just to get me back for the tennis, you know. But the thing is, that's what I'm doing, because I haven't got any more time. So I'm studying whenever I've got 5 free minutes. There's something on that I'm listening to. If I'm driving in the car, I'm listening. If I'm if I've got my computer, I'm listening to one of the master's teachings, or I'm listening with earphones inside my ears. I'm always listening or studying, because if I don't, how will I be able to give you a different session every week that you come? I won't be able to. I've got to study and keep studying and keep developing myself. Otherwise, I don't have a chance. So that was a good thing that he told me, because I thought that's a really good thing to look at myself. But what I want to say is that when you go to the Guru Yoga, and we could do that in the practice, again, a short Guru Yoga, but let's just look at the essence of the Guru Yoga, and let's just look at what a Pure Land is, and then we'll do a meditation. Okay. But when you look at the Guru Yoga, the 4 empowerments of the Guru Yoga are all about the 3 kayas: the essence, the nature, and the unlimited energy, or the Dharmakaya, the Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya, the unlimited energy. That's what the Guru Yoga is about. So when you do it, the vase empowerment from the head of the Guru, and you could do it with, you can imagine a Guru you like, Eko Rinpoche, Lama Yeshe Rinpoche, and then you can imagine Guru Padmasambhava, you know, over them. And you're doing the first one, which is the vase empowerment, which is to cleanse the body. Okay. The second one is the heart empowerment, is the throat empowerment, to cleanse the speech. But remember, the speech is not just, the speech is the energy as well. You're cleansing the energy. And the third one, into the heart, you're cleansing the mind. So you're cleansing those 3 kayas when you're doing it. And the fourth empowerment, you're doing all 3. Okay, all 3 are there: the body, speech, mind. You're cleansing your whole alaya consciousness, all your imprints, all your karma, all your everything. And it all dissolves right into you, okay? And that is called, that's the last empowerment, the empowerment of your true nature. That's your empowerment, your true nature. And so in all of these things, it's really, really important, because in the Guru Yoga, it's all about creation and completion. Creation, mantra recitation, completion. Always, every practice that you do in Vajrayana is about that. And as Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche says, I just want to get that thing because he does it so beautifully, and I've got it here. What he says is that if you see that the creation and the completion are one, that the essence and the nature are one, that the emptiness and the awareness are one. And when you look at the Guru Yoga, you have that in each one. So the first one, which is about the body, is about appearance and emptiness and how it appears in one. The second one over here that comes to the throat is about the clarity and the emptiness, that nature. The third one is about the bliss and the emptiness. That's the mind, the bliss and the emptiness. And finally, that last one is about the awareness and the emptiness, or as I put it the other way, the essence and the awareness and the emptiness. Now, when Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche teaches this, he's always saying these two are a unity. Don't separate them. He says the essence and the nature are one. The emptiness and the awareness are one. Don't separate them. Even though when you do your Vajrayana practice, each one is for one of those things, but they're together. You start in the unity. You create your deity practice. You create your deity practice. You use the energy with the mantra recitation, and you go back into the emptiness. I mean, isn't that amazing for the meaning of life? Wouldn't you think that was amazing to have your meaning in life? That's your life. You birthed. You just had a baby, Rigori. The birth is the creation of the baby. Then you go into life and you take whatever you're doing, and hopefully you do it with awareness. And then there's death, and you dissolve back into the same state again. It's the story of life. Your children are there. So your children, you're giving them their birth. You're giving them everything, everything, everything. And then one day they go, bye, Ma, bye, I'm going my own way. And then everything's dissolved again. You've got the emptiness again. The purpose for lots of people is gone when the children leave. And so the whole of life is what Vajrayana practice is about. The emptiness and the creation. Back into the emptiness and the creation. Back into the emptiness and the creation. Over and over again. And then using the energy from these two to serve all your activities, all your qualities. It's all there. Just think what this gives you, and think that when Guru Rinpoche said, this is what I give you for this dark, degenerative age. I give it to you for this dark, degenerative age. I've put it into a terma. Yeshi Togil's recorded it. She's put it in a terma. It will be discovered and given to you so that you can use it. I give it to you. And when Maitreya comes, the next Buddha, it will not be given again. There will be no Vajrayana except if you remember who you are and you come into embodiment and you remember all your qualities, then you will be able to find some master in the mountain who teaches you again. But otherwise, it'll all be forgotten. Why? Because Maitri must come back to the planet. Maitri is caring, loving kindness for all sentient beings. We won't be able to go to that height to know who we are, that we are that 100 deities. We are that. Those are our qualities. Let's do a little meditation, and then I'll stay if anybody wants to ask. Look, I know it's a lot. I always think I'll just give a few things, and then it just starts happening. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It's the most exciting, beautiful part of your lives. So get into your meditation posture. And I want you to imagine now as you breathe in and out. Oh, I don't know about that, but still, as you breathe in and out, I want you to just see the spaciousness the emptiness, emptiness, full of possibility, full of possibility. And why are we doing this Vajrayana? We're doing this Vajrayana to see the pure illusory output. Why is it illusory? Because it will change. It will change. Even if you Melanie, the impure illusion, it will change. If you are Vajrasattva, you may be Vajrasattva in the theater of your life or in the theater of your death. And soon you may go to Guru Rinpoche's mandala. Even the pure is still illusory. So just for a moment, imagine your practice. You're sitting. You have a beautiful feeling for a particular deity. So you start by sitting in emptiness. A lot of us find that hard to do. So look at the sky. The sky is always there. Today is a blue sky from where I can see. But the clouds keep coming into the sky. But if you look at the clouds, they do not affect the sky. So sit in the sky, the emptiness, open, spacious, blue, full of possibility. And then you're going to start your particular deity practice, the creation. That's the dissolving. You came from emptiness. You're going to start your particular creation. So for this moment of the meditation, I want you to do instantaneous recollection. So instead of going step by step, become the deity. I am Tara. I am the Samaya, they call it Samaya Sattva. I am Chenrezig. I am Guru Rinpoche. I am Vajrayogini. I am Ekajati. I am Amitabha. Just for a moment, create yourself into this being. Don't look at it as external. Try and fathom some of the qualities of that beautiful deity. Compassion, swiftness, but perfection. Subjugation, being able to subjugate the darkness on this planet. Absolute compassion. You are Chenrezig. Just think of one of the qualities of that being and be it. Be it. If you are Manjushri, you have great wisdom. You have a dawning of your wisdom. You know what things are. Feel that beautiful feeling and watch as the seed syllable of that being is in your heart. Watch as the mantra goes around, 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 giving beautiful offerings to all the beings, comes back into you, called approach and great approach, cleanses everything inside you, goes out in the accomplishment with that same beautiful energy to cleanse all beings all over in the wars and the train crashes, all feel your beautiful energy of your mantra recitation and see that coming back. And then you sit in the pure land of your beautiful self, your deity that you are. And what happens is emptiness and awareness are one. I'm doing this quickly, but you can do it slowly. All appearances everywhere are the deities. These beautiful qualitative beings are everywhere, even in the accidents, even in the wars. The whole planet is filled with the appearance of these beautiful deities. And all the sounds, the loud sounds, the soft sounds, the no sounds, whatever sound is there, the clanging, the banging, the pure music, the ugly music, all those sounds are the pure energy that you've created. So whatever is there, you see it as pure, pure sound in the nature of the mantra, this pure sound. The whole world is covered in the pure sound of the mantra. And all the activities of the whole planet have the nature of the awakened state. So all the activities are either magnetizing or pacifying all the crying beings, or magnetizing them to your true nature as this deity, or subjugating the darkness that people are doing, or enriching all the people who are poor and lost, this beautiful feeling of enriching them with everything. And finally, the green action accomplishment, the completely enlightened activity, knowing what to do. And all of this is a pure Buddha land. Everything in your whole practice is a pure Buddha land. And everything is the three kayas. It came out of the three kayas. It will go back into the three kayas. And there's love and peace and maitri. And this is the world you've created with your beautiful mind, the pure land, which acknowledges things as they really are, not as we perceive them. And then all of this is dissolved into the emptiness, the pure, clear light of the sky that we started with. And everything is pure, clear, emptiness, full of possibility, but absolutely dissolved into emptiness. And then as we open our eyes, the recreation starts. The whole process starts all over again. And we take it with us into our life. We are Chenrezi, we are Tara, we are White Tara with the wish-fulfilling wheel. We are Amitabha, who's absolutely pure, of the lotus family with all the passion for the truth. We are Vajrayana, who's a sky flyer. We are all these things. We take that pure land out of the emptiness once again and recreate. I've done it very quickly. It should have been a much longer meditation. But you know what? I'm going to dedicate for those that are really in a rush. And then for the rest of you, I'm so happy to answer your questions, talk to you, whatever you need with pleasure if you've got time. So let's share whatever goodness there was with the whole world and universe that we live in, of all the suffering beings, the wars, the people who want to dominate other people, the people who want to steal the land and minds of other people, the torment, the cults, everything. We dedicate all of that to all beings that they may wake up to who they really are. Through this merit, may we achieve all-seeing Buddhahood, and thereafter, once all harmful enemies have been defeated, may all beings be liberated from the ocean of existence, stirred by the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Sonamdiye tamchezi pane topne nipe dranam pamshene jegana chibala trupaye sipe sole doa doa shubo.